I see that you started. Okay.
Okay. Oh, wow. Mr. James Davis, what a privilege it is to talk with you today. Now, you are an entrepreneur. I'm going to say you've been in the business of doing business for a very long time.
Yeah.
I and and really just the little bit that we've had a chance to just, I've just had a chance to just share or just listen to you. This journey has been a journey that where you have a niche, and we're gonna get into that. But can you just share a little bit? Take us back. Tell us about how you got started and your interest in business.
Well, okay. It actually started. I went into the United States Army at the age of 16. And that was in 1974. I got out.
Hold on. How did they sign? They had to sign for you to
Well,
go,
back
huh?
days that your parents could sign for you. So I wanted to go into the army. It wasn't that I was doing anything wrong. It's just that my grades were great. I was almost an honor student. You want to say back in them days we had E's and S's, and I was
Mm.
out of E's. So, but I decided to go in. I wanted to go into the army. I was in ROTC, so I was like an army kind of guy, and I was on my way to Vietnam, and I did
Mm.
basic training in AIT in Fort Polk, Louisiana. And then, of course, after I got an AIT, the war was over with. The Vietnam War was over with. So later on, a year or so later, I got out of the service. I was 19 now. I'm about 19 years of age, going on 19 actually. Uh, and, with probably nothing to do. So I decided I want to go try to maybe be an attorney. So I went in and tried to apply for my GED and try to take the test. And, I was successful in taking the first test. So, but then I just decided to say, well, I started painting houses. And then I was painting houses I had to add the paper saying paint most houses for $299. And I was, yeah, most houses. I was like, and I had a lot of houses to paint.
Uh-huh.
The paint was free because the city was allowing us to have free paint. So I told the customer, hey, you get free paint. I'm gonna paint your house for $299. You got a heck of a deal. So I was getting a lot of customers that way. And
Okay, so there we go. Right away, you weren't the kind of guy. I'm just going to kind of do some things here. Just mull this over. At 16, you had some initiative. You're talking about now that was Vietnam War time. Now, I
yes,
remember I was around during the Vietnam War as well. Some of our listeners may not have been, but you were a young person that you were ready to go do something, right?
that-
Okay, so then by the time you got out of the army or the end of the Vietnam War,
mhm,
you were 19, still a teenager. Now that's a big shout out to teenagers. Now we have some things going on with some teenagers. They're being authors. There's some awards going around for those that were writing books and things of that nature. So here I'm hearing it's you're never too young,
right,
huh, to get
right.
started with thinking about what it is you want to do with your life. And then here comes the part, painting houses. So finding something that you can do well or want to do, or a hustle that will pay. And here you go, painting a house. And now that 200 some dollars might not sound so much today, but back in the day,
Hey, that was a lot.
okay, a lot. And some, and then so there was some sales there too, right? So
Yeah,
you had to talk people in to, hey, get the paint and I'll paint it.
absolutely,
Wow, there's business right there. Huh? That's making money. That's entrepreneurship right there. That's getting some customers going there. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. It was just a stepping stone to get to
Mhm.
the next thing I wanted to do. And what happened was I came across this little store on 40th and Prospect, a little empty store. I want to say it was empty because the guy who did own it only had like maybe 25 or 30 candy bars, about 5 packages of bologna in the store, and maybe some salami and a
Mhm.
few loaves of bread on the shelf. So, but he was selling the store,
Mhm.
but he was also renting it as well. So
Mhm.
I happened to see the store when I was painting one of the houses I was painting down the street. I said, "Hey, I'm gonna get in the store business." So the next day, I gave the man $1,000 for what he had, including the coolers and the little meat, and also the rats that he had in the store. 'Cause there was some rats in the store there.
Oh my goodness.
About that. So, so so I pay him the money for the store and got a bill of sales. And the next day, I start cleaning that store up because it needed to be cleaned. So I cleaned the store up, put out some stuff to kill the rats that was downstairs, and got that situated. And then start, just kind of grew from there.
Okay.
Mhm.
Right there. That was super impressive. So you made the money painting the houses. And then from there, took the money that you saved and invested in what it is that you wanted to do, which is uh, being a store owner opening up a storefront,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Now, here, guys, sales is what's up. So, some people they, when it comes to everyone, people want to get creative when it comes to business and making money, and that's cool. But this was simple.
Yeah,
Simple. A simple business and doing something simply so that you don't have to go out there and knock on doors. Boom, 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 boom. Can I have a job?
right.
Oh, and we're going to be talking about some of that next. Anyway, go ahead, sir. Please continue.
Then I started, of course, I opened the store up, and I worked hard about getting the store clean first,
Yes.
and getting the smell out, and
Mm,
basically getting it cleaned up. Uh, and and I went down to cash and carry. At that time, it was called cash and carry, and I purchased a lot of candy. And then at Walmart, I used to go. Was called, at that time it was called Hypermark. I would go there at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and purchase like maybe 3 boxes of cornmeal, 2 packs of flour, 3 packs of sugar, and I'll buy my stuff at there because I couldn't afford to buy cases from a cash and carry. I only bought
mhm,
candy, and I couldn't afford to buy merchandise like food merchandise. So I buy the onesies and twosies from Hypermark, take them to the store late at night, and nobody wouldn't see me, and put the stuff on the shelf. And
mhm.
when I started this small business, and then people start coming in a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit.
Okay. Now, here's another thing that I'm impressed with. You worked in the community where you were working and you were familiar with. And I'm going to kind of lay on that for a minute. The community wasn't being serviced, right? So back in the day, there were stores around, but mostly they were like liquor stores.
Well,
Yeah.
there was a store half a block down the street from me called
Mhm.
Tony,
Mhm.
and there was Joe Looney on 39th and Prospect.
Okay.
Of course, like I said, Tony and Nella was half a block from me, and B's Liquor was a little further south of me as well. So I
Mhm.
had competition around me. I
Competition, but the kids or the mom to say, "Hey, walk
Mhm.
can you walk around the corner and grab something?" Or the kids want a quick snack or some candy or something. They don't have to go way down to a liquor store in that type of an environment to go up and just to get something that where they can enjoy themselves, right? Or something that they needed, a necessity, some bread. Back in that was it. If you could walk to the store, that was kind of the highlight
Right. I like
of life
for just a
when we were kids, huh?
yeah, and get some get some candy.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's why I was trying to push mostly the candy, but I was gradually growing the grocery part
Mhm.
to the business as well. And I just kept on working at it. I worked at it and worked at it. And then I was making $15 a day. And that was $15 every day. And on
There
six,
you go.
I know it. On Sundays, I made $125 on Sundays because I was the only store. Tony Nella was not open, so I was open. So
Oh yeah, the blue laws back in the
but,
day.
yep, he wasn't open, so I was on $125 a day on Sundays. So I was doing great with that.
Mhm.
And kept on building the store up and building it up and building it up and letting customers know I'm here. Come and support me. I would chase them halfway down the street before they get to Tony and say, "Hey, come on back here. I got the same bologna. I charge you the same price. I charge you the same price for the bread."
And it's going to be a safer environment,
Also,
right?
environment as well, you know. And I started having 3 loaves of bread for $1. I started having a can of pop for 25 cents. I started putting sales on, putting my little windows I had, put sales 25 cents pop, 3 loaves of bread for $1. And then I came up with a good itch on some money orders. I started charging 15 cents per money order back in the day. But that money order gave me working capital. So when people bought a money order on a
Mhm.
on a Monday, I didn't have to pay the money order company until Friday. So that rotated over and over again until I had working capital. Then I started buying more stock, more inventory, and I kind of built it up from that point on. And then
Mhm.
one year, like maybe 9 years down the road, out of that little bitty store on 40th and Prospect, I made $1 million gross
My goodness.
later. And then I got into the
That was in 10 years.
within 10 years, yeah, with
Within 10 years, you made
dollar
$1 million
gross
gross
one year.
out of that little store.
In 1 year, I made $1 million gross out of one.
Now, not in and here we go. So this was in the African American community for those listeners. I mean, because we have listeners all over the country and really the world. We have some listeners in the Philippines.
Right,
So for the listeners around the world, this was a store that's located in the African American
right.
community. It serviced African Americans with what they needed and also fun treats and things. But it got started by an African American that painted houses, saved the money, and went out boldly to say, "Hey, I'm going to do something with my life besides knock on a door and say, will you give me a job? Get angry if you don't get the job, or go rob someone, or go and take and sell drugs out of the store."
Hmm.
Right?
Right.
So this was an honest living. And in 10 years, there was $1 million gross receipts within 10 years of owning this. Now
Hmm.
this is little by little. So for all the ballers that think they balling, I don't think so. You're not doing nothing until you do this with your own creativity, imagination,
Hmm.
sweat, rolling up your sleeves, ethics. Huh?
Hmm.
I hear that, being ethical about what you're doing, sales, chasing them down. I have the same baloney, cost with the same price, bruh.
Right.
Come, come and buy
Oh,
my baloney.
I've done that a
Put
lot.
putting things on sale. Look, this is business. Not all of that on the corner talking yickety yak and trying to sling drugs. You do something now. Do something with your life that's worth doing. This
Right.
is worth doing because this man is still here. He
Hmm.
doesn't have to look over his shoulder. Mr. Davis is still here and he's still doing big things. Go ahead, Mr. Davis.
And then at that same time, I started another business right next door. Because then at that time, I went ahead and started buying the building. And I went ahead and bought the building with contracted deed for from the owners. And then I started one part of the building, like what we consider would be the north side of the building. I opened up a little restaurant called Just for Kids. And then in the restaurant with Just for Kids, it had video games and it had honest soul tacos and hamburgers. And I had somebody to run that for me. And believe it or not, back in them days when you making $145 a day net, that wasn't bad money on video
No.
games and hamburgers and tacos. Right.
Hmm.
It didn't require a lot of bigger health department stuff. It just required, I just bought some girls from Kmart's at that time when Kmart's was open. And we put them in there and we did nice business. And then at the same time, I started another business. I started a business called, uh, at that time, I started My Curl Activator Moisturizer Lotion. And I had 10 products on the market. That's when we used to have the curls.
I remember the curls. Now I didn't get the curl. Let me just get a little
I
history
had
about that.
my hair's condition it is now because I got the curl.
Oh,
So,
I didn't get the curl, but I did get
uh,
the perm. I was a perm girl,
yeah,
something to kind of make it easy where all you had to do was just put the
right,
rollers in it, dry it and go, or whatever. But that stuff is not good for you. That's why I'm natural to this day.
right. That's a good thing.
So
Good, you're on a good step. Uh,
but
but
here,
mm,
as a businessman, and,
mm,
and then providing a product
mm,
that African Americans used at the time, and it was a style that was desired. not a bad thing. It was just a
Right.
thing, right? I mean, it's a choice because even back in the day, some of us didn't curl or perm our hair. Some was just press and curl. Some was just that afro, that little curly afro or whatever. That's fine too. So
Hmm.
here, but I hear another business, uh, and I'm gonna ask a quick question before you continue. Did you get tired?
Well, here, keep in mind, I'm in my 20s now, early 20s.
Okay, there you go. So do
I
it
was,
while you're young. Do it
yeah,
while you're young. Okay.
I was doing probably maybe 19, 18, 19 hours a day.
Hmm.
Then I started the course. I had some friends, relatives running the restaurant just for kids, and then the
Hmm.
then the micro activator. I had 10 products on the market: rearranger, booster, shampoo, conditioner, and a couple more other items I had on the market on the My Curl. So then I said, okay, great. So I'm selling the My Curl. It's going to some of the stores. It went to Cats. I only remember Cats back in the day.
I do.
I went through Blankenship to get Cats because Blankenship was a master distributor at that time. So I sold the product to Blankenship, and he distributed product for different places here in the city for me.
I remember Blankenship, and they were on Vine
Right.
Street. Yeah, we spoke with Doctor the doc at the Black Archives. Now they were on Vine Street. Now they've moved around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
No,
so we.
well, they're not there anymore now. Blankenship was on Prospect, and then they was
Mhm.
on 47th Street. Now I'm not sure where they at now.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, Blankenship is an old African American business that they were they were into. Well, and they still may be. We just need to. I'm gonna find out. But they were into black hair care. They
Right?
black hair care and black beauty supplies back in the day. So
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but before the Koreans.
before the Koreans. So, and let me just kind of do a little bit of caveat there. Now, one of the things that I think has devastated the African American community is that the businesses that we started and thrived and supported
Hmm.
were sold or not supported to the point to where once the European American or Korean stores and other ethnically owned stores were open, then our dollar left the community,
Absolutely.
and also the blight of leaving those who would get the education. First thing they'd want to do would be to move out of the neighborhood because of whatever reason, wanting to move into a newer neighborhood. A lot of our homes, of course, in African American communities around the country are there's old buildings where you're not able folks haven't maintained as well, not, and even not all of the homes. I'm not saying that because there's a lot of beautiful communities, but
Absolutely.
just to know that when it comes to the African American dollar, it circulates how many times before it leaves. It used to circulate several times
Mhm.
before it left the community to go to other communities. Well, now my stats may be off, but it's not circulating as many times. It doesn't stay,
Right.
right?
Right. You're right.
Which causes for businesses to not be supported in a way to where black owned businesses should be supported. And then from there, where are black owned businesses now? We'll probably get a chance to talk a little bit about that. But here you had three businesses
I got
running
another
and
one.
going.
I got another one. Then I came out with a company called Image Magazine.
Ah,
I would have
wow.
the publishing business. Didn't know nothing about the publishing business, but I had to do something because I got tired of seeing negativity about black folks on TV, on the radios. So I came out with Image Magazine, and it was a positive publication, and it was a beautiful publication. It was color on the outside of the publication. I had like, I think like, I can't remember, there may be 60, 65 or 66 pages, something like that.
Hmm.
And it was a very well publication. I advertised my businesses that I had. I advertised Just for Kids in there, a restaurant. I advertised Shortstop Grocery. That was the name of the store. And
Shortstop
I
groceries.
and then I advertised uh, um, uh, uh, of course, Image Magazine advertised all the other businesses that I had
Mm-hmm.
inside the Image Magazine, and I just done it from there. So I had all them businesses going at the same time. Just
Mm-hmm.
I had probably no more than I had some writers and photographers and proofreaders that we met every Sunday on my house on the pool table. That's where we met every Sunday, and to put together the publication. And we did that on Sundays because that's the
Mm-hmm.
only day that I closed early at the store was on Sundays. So that's how we kind of put that together. It was doing very well. Everything was doing great.
Mm-hmm.
Everything just
Mm-hmm.
doing great. It was the things that I had to do.
Now, and we're gonna let you go here in a little bit. I know that you're a very busy person. That's why we're getting this. This is pre-recorded, by the way, guys, so that we can keep moving because this gentleman is super busy. We appreciate the time that he spent speaking with us, and we're gonna hopefully we'll get a chance to chat with him within the next week or two coming up. But the what you've done and what you've said is should be a beacon of light and hope to anyone. I'm not just saying African Americans, but anyone that wants to get in business and do something. The thing is, what I'm hearing is that you have to do it, and you have to get up and then think about what it is that your passion is. You didn't know anything about a magazine,
No.
but here you go. You have one, had one, and that was back in the day. That was a big deal having a rag. We call
Yeah.
them rags, right? Newspapers, magazines, whatever. It's a big thing having where you could have your picture taken, and then the magazine would come around and oh, I see your picture and
Mm-hmm.
advertise, but it served a purpose too. It gave
Yes.
you an opportunity to advertise, which is another piece of business that I think people don't seem to understand. Right now, it's social media. Social media. We spoke with one of the congressional candidates last week on the obstruction to justice, and she ran her whole candidacy through social media
Mm-hmm.
and won the primary.
Yes.
Huh?
It goes on a
She
lot.
she did that. And so social media is the big thing now,
Mm-hmm.
but it started with wanting to
Mm-hmm.
and not binge watching TV. Not I don't know. I don't get a chance to watch very much TV, but not binge watching TV, not putting the blame, not playing the video games.
Mm-hmm.
That video game industry is taking off, but look who's sitting there playing the video games. People that are just I remember working in getting even when the video game industry when it started ramping up, they would just be playing video games and they call in, hey, my video game, you're taking money out, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, well, but there's more to life is the point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that right there, if you want to be a success in business, then you have to do it.
Yes.
Huh? Nike said just do it. And he didn't lie.
Mm-hmm.
Nike did his thing, but we need to do our things. And then I'm hearing too that it started with the money that you had. So I don't know how many folks still have their stimulus checks. I don't know. And I don't know what you could do with the stimulus check in that, as far as business is concerned, guys, but write the vision and make it plain. Write it down. Get that business plan. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
if you need a business plan help and assistance, contact ASBNC Training and Consulting. That's our plug. We'll help you come up with a business plan. We actually have classes to help you write a business plan.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Now your business plan sounds like you got it going, but then to run your business, that was another big thing. Well, how do we run it? Where do we meet? His
Mm-hmm.
brother had a pool table. He
Mm-hmm.
took the time that he had, and which was on a Sunday. Okay, there's a lot of I work on Sundays too. It's just different kind of work. It's the Lord's work. And
Mm-hmm.
but then there was some rest time because he got off a little early, and then he was able to talk a little bit about what he needed to do with that magazine. Wow, wowzer!
Mm-hmm.
Now, Mr. Davis, you're going to be coming back, and we're going to be able to spend more time with you.
Okay.
I believe next week or within the next week or two. We're going to kind of play it by ear, guys. Um, what do you see right now? I'm just going to ask you this one little quick question. What do you see is the biggest block, stumbling block or issue when it comes to African American businesses, minority owned businesses?
Well, the biggest stumbling block is I think it's not getting opportunities because I mean I have started several businesses in my lifetime. The biggest business I started one time was DSS, that's Davis Safety Supply, and the gross sales on that business, particular business, was like $4 million. So I have started a couple more other businesses as well, and they did pretty well. But always been a stumbling block has always been just not getting the opportunities. And you have to fight for opportunity. I'm saying
Mm-hmm.
a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, but
Mm-hmm.
believe me, but it took a lot of fight, and that's what you have to do. You have to fight consistently, and and you don't let nobody tell you no, because if the front door is not open, and in our cases the back doors are not open, we go through the window. You know what I mean? That's just how we got to run it. And
Mm-hmm.
just that, I mean, it's just it's so many obstacles that we got to deal with. We have to. I'm serious. There's a lot of obstacles, and I'm on my 40. I think I say this so many times. I think I'm on my 43rd year in business. I might be 44, but I'm in the 40s. The
Mm-hmm.
business. So I've been in business for a very, very long time. And I'm telling you, I always have to fight. The business I'm in now, I'm fighting. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, we're going to come back and get a
Yeah,
chance to hear what's going on with that business that you're working with now. And I get it. Yeah, the opportunities are not always there. I think the networking
mm-hmm,
opportunities aren't there as far as networking to the capital. Networking, I'm saying the economics part of it, right?
right.
Getting the money to to run the business, getting the startup funding and the capital, getting the grants and things like that. um, some of the vision that we have, visions for businesses are big. It's not always about the storefront. Of course, we can work where we start, work where we are, and then grow to build that. Just
Mm-hmm,
a little thing about the capital part of it. For years, what I've done, and even now, it doesn't matter. I'll take a contract, and we'll work the contract and invest in the businesses that we have.
mm-hmm.
So one business will invest in the other business, but we'll take a contract to invest in the other businesses. So it's about, yeah, I think the opportunities, and then looking for the opportunities. I agree. And not letting people say no. If they say
Right,
no, that's no there, but that's not no everywhere, huh?
right, right. It's not no
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. And then also, I've been fortunate. When I started my business, I never borrowed money for my businesses. Never had.
Mm,
Now, when I got into the business, I did obtain a line of credit, but I never actually went out and borrowed money to start the business. Have
I
never.
got it.
Never. Because
All right.
one business does good, I sell it, I move to something else, or I maybe find a way of doing something different. That's just basically how I always have done it. So
And there's a niche
yeah.
there. And I said that we would talk about it by the end of our conversation, and well, for today's conversation,
Mhm.
and that's startup. Hmm? There's some entrepreneurs that are great at startups. And that's what they do. They start up, they grow it to profit, and then they sell it, right?
Mhm.
So that is a way to do business. But without you chiefs, and I'm saying the big kahunas, the guys that have paved the way, and proven the concept, right? I
Mhm.
think that the other part, the longevity of some businesses, are that would just be just what it is. It's the startup, but the startup is important to get to the long haul, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Understand.
Yeah. Mr. Davis, James Davis, thank you so much for joining us
Thank you.
today and sharing with us. And we're looking forward to talking with you again here real soon.
Okay. Thanks for having me too. We're gonna talk more about this new business.
Yes, definitely looking forward to that.
Hmm.
Take care.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.